So before we start this video, I just want to clear the air. Remember, in Japan back in the 1940s, 50s, when Ashita no was made, the age for majority in juvenile prison is 20 years old. So anybody who was less than 20 was eligible to be in juvenile prison. So every character you see in Ashita no juvenile prison were under the age of 20. They were 19, 18, 17, 16, and many others in Ashita no. So now let's start the video. So today we're going to be looking at every character in Ashita no. I mean, they are changed before juvenile prison and after juvenile prison. The first one has to be, of course, Nishi. Nishi, everybody knew that before juvenile prison, Nishi was a gang leader. I mean, in the holding cell where Nishi was staying before he was transferred to the Tokyo security prison, Nishi was literally the bad guy there, and every single person who came into the prison had to pay respect to Nishi, or else you were gonna get beaten. And this was something that he did to Joe Yabuki, who refused to pay respect to the boss, Nishi, and everybody broke his bones. You know what I mean? Those treatment where they gave to Joe Yabuki, and Yabuki literally passed out, and then when he woke up, I mean, there was real trouble for the gang and Nishi himself. So this was the turning point to Nishi's character. When he went to the high security prison in Japan, he was literally scared of every single person there, because this prison housed the most hardest guys in Japan, and Nishi changed to somebody who you can attribute as a wimp. So Nishi was the first person who experienced a change in juvenile prison. The next person has to be Aoyama. Aoyama himself, before coming into juvenile prison, I could ask myself, what did this guy even do before he got into juvenile prison? Because Aoyama looks like a little guy who can't even hunt a fly, and I don't know what he did to be in juvenile prison. He must have done something strange. Anyway, he got into prison, and everybody knows he was a wimp. Nobody even looks or pay attention to this guy in prison because it was literally small. The smallest guy could not even hunt a fly. And then Dampe changed this guy from a weakling to a monster in the boxing ring, because Dampe was trying to use him for a project to face Joe Yabuki and teach him the art of defense. So Aoyama, who was very small, started knocking out heavyweights. This guy was a beast. He had so many potential. And after prison, Aoyama, who learned the art of war, I mean the art of boxing, resulted to doing a normal job. So Aoyama quit boxing because I think he doesn't like to hurt people, unlike Joe, Rikishi, those type of boxers like Nishi. Even Nishi continued this boxing after prison. Aoyama quit and focused on doing jobs, regular jobs like regular people. And then Rikishi Toro next. Rikishi Toro was brought into juvenile prison because this man beat up a fan and then resulted into crime, and Rikishi spent 3 years in juvenile prison. Like I said, Rikishi was an ex-pro boxer before coming to juvenile prison, and he had the record of 30-0 in the welterweight division. Even looking at the images or the clips of Rikishi before juvenile prison, he clearly was close to or more than 18 years old. So Rikishi got into prison by my calculations because the age for joining professional boxing has to be 16. I mean, like fighting Harada debuted at the age of 16. So Rikishi joined juvenile prison at the age of 19 since he achieved 30-0 in like 3 years, and then 19 years falls under the age for juvenile prison, and Rikishi spent 3 years and came out at the age of 21. So Rikishi coming out after juvenile prison really changed his personality a lot, because Rikishi was a harsh boxer who you cannot speak badly to, but he had a lot of self-control in juvenile prison, also with Joe Yabuki, who provoked him and got on his nerve many times. So Rikishi got more quiet, calm in juvenile prison. Aoyama changed, Nishi changed, but one person didn't change in juvenile prison. Of course, this is Joe Yabuki. Yabuki was brought into prison as a menace, a hard person, a troublemaker, of course, a dislikable character, and Yabuki left prison the same way. And it was Rikishi's passing that actually changed Joe Yabuki for the better, because Joe was looking like he was heading for self-destruct. Unfortunately, he also ended with self-destruct, but Joe looked like he was gonna go quickly because he was getting in trouble with gangs and every single stuff. So Joe changed because of Rikishi, and not a character who changed because of juvenile prison. He was brought into prison the same and left the same way. So anyway, these are some of the characters in Ashita no Joe that were changed in juvenile prison, and Joe Yabuki himself did not change because he's a menace. Everybody knows that.